brutal. The silence in room 217. There's a room on the second floor of the old Marrowbrook Hotel that no one rents anymore, room 217. For decades, the hotel staff have refused to speak about it. New guests asking about it are told the room is under renovation. Long-term employees, when pressed, simply grow pale and change the subject. But the room is always clean. Fresh linens appear on the bed weekly. No one admits to doing it. In 1998, a travel journalist named Emily Harrow checked into Marrowbrook. Intrigued by the rumors, she was known for her skeptical takes on paranormal claims and had a habit of debunking haunted places with flair and sarcasm. She arrived in early October alone with a tape recorder, camera, and a stubborn desire to stay in room 217. After some convincing and a generous bribe to the manager, she was given the brass key. "You can go in," he said quietly, "but if you hear knocking, do not answer, not unless it knocks your name." She smirked, thinking it was just part of the mystique. Emily entered room 217 at 9:03 p.m. The decor was surprisingly intact. Vintage wallpaper curling at the edges, a tall wardrobe in the corner, and a mirror across from the bed. Black with age, as though it had absorbed years of sorrow. She started recording immediately. "The room is chilly." Her tape recorder picked up. "Smells faintly like lavender and something else. Old. Almost like mildew or rot." At 11:45 p.m. the first knock came. 3 soft knocks, then silence. She paused her recording, probably another guest messing around. At 12:17 a.m. another knock, this time louder. Closer. She walked to the door, swung it open. No one. She placed a chair against the doorknob and continued her recording. 1:03 a.m. the knock came again, this time from inside the wardrobe. She laughed nervously into the recorder, whispering, "Okay, if this is a setup, you've got me." She opened the wardrobe. Empty. But when she looked in the mirror afterwards, something was different. Her reflection was smiling. She wasn't. That was the last known recording from Emily Harrow. The next morning, housekeeping found the room empty. No sign of a struggle, no luggage, just her tape recorder. Still on. The last few minutes of the tape are hushed whispers, unintelligible, growing louder, more panicked. Then a voice, her voice, muttering repeatedly, "It's wearing me. It's wearing me. It's wearing me." Today, room 217 remains locked. Staff still clean it, though no one admits who. Some say Emily still checks in there every October. And if you're ever wandering the halls of Marrowbrook late at night, and you hear soft knocking from behind a door that shouldn't be open, don't answer, unless it knocks your name. Here's a long horror story for you, titled The Last Broadcast. Part 1. The Static Whisper. It was 2:13 a.m. when the static started. Lena worked the graveyard shift at WKRX 91.7 FM, a nearly forgotten local radio station nestled in the dying town of Ashford Hollow. Her job was simple: keep the late-night music playing, occasionally chime in with weather updates, and make sure nothing caught fire. It had been dead air for years, metaphorically speaking. Few people still tuned in. But the pay was decent, and Lena liked the solitude. The studio, located on the second floor of a crumbling municipal building, felt like a relic from another century. Peeling wallpaper, dusty control boards, cassette tapes stacked like bricks. That night, around 2:13 a.m., in the middle of a late 90s alt-rock track, the music cut out. Static flooded the speakers, white noise hissing into her headphones like a venomous whisper. Lena reached for the switchboard to fix it, but then she heard it, buried deep in the static. A voice. It wasn't speaking words she understood. The cadence was wrong. Too slow. Too wet. She pulled off her headphones, heart suddenly racing. The static still bled faintly from the speakers overhead, and the voice, it kept going, murmuring, chanting. She couldn't place the language, but it scratched something in her brain, something that made her want to scream and run and cry all at once. She yanked the emergency power switch. The studio went dark. The static stopped. Call in from the dark. Power came back on 5 minutes later. She considered going home, just walking into the cool night and never returning. But she had nowhere else to go. Not really. So she restarted the system. The moment the console lit up, the phone rang. WKRX hadn't had a call in weeks. She picked up, slowly. Hello? There was silence, then a voice, thin, brittle, like it had never ever used words before. You heard it. Lena froze. What? She managed. It knows you now. You listened. The line went dead. She stared at the phone, then looked back at the equipment. Everything was normal. No static. The next track was queued up. Nirvana, Something in the Way. She let it play and sat back, breathing shallow. That night, she dreamed of mouths. Endless mouths, stitched into walls, floors, the sky. Whispering the same wet chant from the static. When she woke, her ears bled. Part 3, Dead Frequencies. Over the next week, the voice returned, always around 2:13 a.m. Sometimes she heard footsteps in the hallway outside the studio, but when she checked, the corridor was empty. Once she found the door wide open and muddy footprints led in a circle around her chair. The chant never changed. But the effect on her did. She stopped sleeping. She spoke less. Her skin grew pale. The static voice, it was in her dreams now. Yes, but also in reflections, in mirrors, in glass, in the puddles on the way to work. One night she brought in a tape recorder. She tried to capture the voice. When she played the tape back, there was nothing, just silence. But her cat went blind the next day. She finally confided in a co-worker, Aaron, who worked mornings. You need to burn the tape, he said after she told him. What? Why? He didn't answer. He just looked at her, terrified. The next day, Aaron was found hanging from the WKRX transmitter tower with his mouth sewn shut. Part 4. It wasn't a station. Not really. Not anymore. WKRX had stopped broadcasting years ago, bankrupt, forgotten. What Lena didn't know when she took the job was that the tower had been sold. Not to a company, to a group, a cult. They believed the airwaves were not empty, but doorways, that frequencies could carry more than music. That if you tuned to the right wavelength at the right time, you could hear him. They called it the frequency of hunger. And Lena had tuned in. The final night, the static came not from the speakers, but from the walls, from the floor beneath her feet. The studio began to hum, as if alive. She didn't run. She sat in her chair and stared at the console. 2:13 a.m. The voice came through again, clear now, as though it sat behind her. It is time. She turned, slowly, and the mouth was there. A gaping vertical split in reality itself, teeth like broken glass. It opened wider. The studio peeled away like film melting on a projector. She screamed, and WKRX fell silent. Forever epilogue. A new DJ started at WKRX 6 months later. She was young, bright, optimistic. On her first night, she tested the mic, checked the playlist. At 2:13 a.m., the static returned, and somewhere, far away, Lena whispered, "Welcome to the Hollow."